Dear friends, the topic I'm going to talk about today is writing done about 2500 years back in ancient Greek. There was this famous playwright with the name Sophocles who wrote about 120 odd plays. Unfortunately, about seven survived the modern times, and the three plays I'm going to talk about today is from the book The Three Theban Plays. It's a translated work done by Robert Fagles. I hope you like what you hear. As I always do, I'm going to provide a brief about the plays itself that to give the perspective, and then I'll provide my insights and my thoughts of what I learned by reading the book. Hope you like what you hear, and as always, feel free to leave behind the comment on the comment section. There are three plays, as I said in the book, and the plays are written in a particular order. The first play is Oedipus the King, the second is Oedipus at Colonists, and the third is Antigone. Sophocles is to write tragedies, and these three plays are also work of his tragedies, and they're all surrounded around a few characters, and I'm going to talk about a little bit in terms of how they are related to each other in the plays that they're going to come. And the first character is Oedipus. Oedipus is the king. He was the king of Thebes and a very important character from the overall play standpoint. He had two sons and two daughters. Particularly Antigone is very important character, one of his daughter. The other daughter he had was Ismene. He had two sons as well, Polynices and Eteocles. Those two sons are also very important from the play standpoint. His brother-in-law Creon, who later on became the king of Thebes, is also important character. His father Polybus, and the earlier king of Thebes, Laius, is also important from the overall story standpoint. So the first play, which is the Oedipus the King, is about Oedipus. Oedipus was given a curse at the time of birth that he would, by the gods, the Apollo at that time, as they used to pray and worship the god. The prediction made was he is going to kill his own father and marry his own mother. So out of scare, he left his own country and he was traveling like a vagabond. So as he was traveling, he reaches the shores of Thebes, and Thebes was plagued by a mythological character of Greek known as Sphinx. And what Sphinx is to do is ask a riddle, and if the passerby cannot answer it, then the person was killed. And only if the question is answered, Sphinx will be killed. So Sphinx asked a riddle, not to go in details. The riddle was answered by Oedipus, and Sphinx was perished, and that's how he became the king of Thebes. Now, in the first play, what it basically demonstrate is, as the play goes on, the people in Thebes are very concerned about some of the disease outbreak that is happening. They are coming to the king to ask for help, and Oedipus is trying to see how he can help. He is a very people-friendly person. He has saved the country from Sphinx clutches before, and the people are also expecting him to take care of them this time as well. So in turn, what he does is he calls Creon, who is his brother-in-law, and asks him to find out from the gods that what has to be done so that the plague can be eradicated. And when Creon comes back, I think one of the aspect which is drawn was they have to find the person who has killed their previous king Laius, and once they find that person, they have to exile that person from Thebes, and once they do that, and the plague will be taken care of. So now he's trying to find out. He's asking different leaders. He's asking his brother-in-law, his wife, about that person who has killed him, and in this whole process, there's a self-discovery that Oedipus does, that the person he's trying to find was he himself, and in the fold of the entire story, it finds that he killed Laos when he was entering, and he was attacked by Laos and his men, and in return, through protecting himself, he kills Laos. As the story unfolds and the play unfolds, he finds out that he was actually son of Laos. He was given out by his wife, by Leo's wife at that time, because the prophecy was made, and she was scared that he may kill the king and marry her. So hence, she gave her son to someone to get killed, but that person took pity and he gave it to someone who landed him up in a different kingdom. But as he comes back without his knowledge, he actually killed Laius, who was then his father, and he marries his mother, who he didn't know by any means. But as he realizes that the self-realization happened, his wife kills herself, and out of pity, he takes his own eyes and he becomes blind and he takes exile. That's the first story, Oedipus the King. And as he's taking exile so that the country Thebes can get what it needs, and it will get rid of plague, and in return Creon becomes the king. So that's the first place. So it's a tragic end. He realizes he's the one who killed his father, married his mother, and is trying to take exile so he can come out of this whole misery. The second play is called as Oedipus at Colonists. So in this particular play, what he realizes is that there's another prophecy made, and the prophecy is that whosoever have Oedipus, and this is like the tables are turning, they will never have any fear from any enemy. So now everyone wants him. His Creon wants him back, but again, since he has killed his own father, he will never get he'll never be buried in his own country, but he wanted to bury him just outside of Thebes so that he in turn can protect Thebes from any kind of attack. But he refuses because he said, I'm in exile, I'm in pain all this while, and you're coming only for your own selfish reasons. At the same time, his two sons were fighting amongst each other, and one of them was in exile. He was trying to fight back, and he wanted to have his father Oedipus by his side because he knows that whosoever he will be with, he would win the battle. But he refuses him as well by saying that when I was in pain and I was in exile, no one came but my daughter. Antigone really took care of him. Ismene also comes and joined, but it is Antigone who took care of his father from all miseries, tending to him in all this while when he was out in exile. And in the play itself, Antigone is with her father Oedipus. So what Oedipus decides is, he will be at Colonus. He will make sure that the king in that place, he will provide him every level of protection he can, but he'll never go back to his own country. So that's the story all about. In this, he finally dies, but there's a ritual done that when he's dying, only the king who you wanted to see can see it, and he has to pass it along that so he can protect his country. So that's where the story ends. It's again a tragic end. The brothers are going to fight, they're going to die. That's a prophecy he made. The children he had, the two daughters, they'll be fatherless again. They have to go back to Thebes. At the same time, he's going to die and he's going to get his eternal peace. The third play is Antigone. Antigone has many versions in the modern world as well. I'll talk about it a little later, but Antigone is again a tragic, and that's in this particular play. What happens is the two brothers of Antigone and Ismene, they are fighting. One, as I said before, he is in exile. He's trying to come back and win the battle with his brother, and the other, Eteocles, is in Thebes, is fighting on behalf of Thebes, and they die. Both of them die. That's a prophecy made by their own father. And while Eteocles was fighting for Thebes, he is getting all the respect, the due regards that person should get, and he's getting a burial according to the rituals. But the other brother, Polynices, he is not given any burial. So his body is lying out there to be fed to crayons and other animals. And her sister Antigone was taking it dearly to her heart by saying that whatever it is, he is my brother and he needs a proper burial. And she thought of taking a fight against Creon. And Ismene in this case says that, sister, don't take that fight, because if you do that, you'll be going against the thieves, and if that happens, they're going to make you die as well. But despite all the risks, she goes ahead and she tries to bury him, which the king finds out, and she's taken under arrest. And at the same time, the story as it unfolds, she's cursing the whole kingdom accordingly. And what we see in the story is that Heman, who is son of who's the son of Creon, was in love with Antigone, and as Antigone kills herself because she knows that she'll be put in prison and she'll be starving to death. She takes her own life. So Haman also goes ahead and takes his own life. Seeing that, Haman's mother also takes her own life, and Creon is left there with his ego, their big ego, but his son has died, his wife has died, and so has Antigone. So that's how the play ends. While these are three tragedies plays, I have few aspects I want to draw it out. The first and foremost I want to talk about is the religion and God. Back then, this is about 430 odd BC when this was written, which is about 2,500 years, as I said before. God still played a big role. Their fear of God, the prophecies made, was there from time immemorial, right? We have that at that time, we have it now as well in different religion. The fear of God, and there is a supernatural power who looks after us and who we have to look up to and make sure that we follow all the rules. The second aspect that I want to draw out is a social fabric. Right? Think about this time, about 2,500 years back also, the social fabric was still existing. The kings taking care of the citizen, the father, the mother, their respect for each other, children taking care of their old parents. All of those were part of the ritual then as well, which has percolated down to this segment of the world. The third, democracy was big, as you can see in different places. The common people were coming and taking help from the king to make sure that they can be taken care of. And in a democratic world, it's king's under king's power. He has to take care of his own people. So that was there back then as well when civilization was forming. I also want to highlight that though it was written around 430 odd BC, the plays were played way as early as 4 BC, which is about as you can see, about 2050 years back, and they are the sole source of entertainment at that point in time, and they were played by various characters during the play. So the modern play actually came into existence because of what Sophocles has written and how they were interpreted and played at those particular point in time. Sophocles is said to have lived about 90 years and about 90 odd years, and he has directed and he has staged a lot of those plays as well. I also want to let you know that preserving content from that such back times is not easy, and there were no printing presses, as you know, and it was a very laborious task of writing down everything and passing it from generation to generation. It is the love of art, and it is a place which has made the popular plays at least to stay around. As I said, he wrote about 120 plays, and we're presuming that these the seven plays that existed. I spoke about three, maybe some of the most popular ones which got written and rewritten on then papyrus leaves, which were used as sheets to write down. Papyrus was used for many other purposes as well, like when making boat and cord and whatnot. But they are also used to write down, and it's a very difficult task of writing it down generation after generation and preserving it up until when in 19th century or 18th century we have printing presses, and then these are printed accordingly. I finally also wanted to let you know is that all of these plays that we have seen, there is human emotions and there's fear of God. And at the end, I would say that the bad things happen to bad people, good things happen to good people, are also seen. But there are also outcast and casting done by some of the bad omen which comes and plays in the world. Thought I'll share this with you, my perspective on the book, and some of the plays were very interesting. If you have not read the plays, I will highly recommend. I know ancient literature hard to read, but Robert Fagles has done a phenomenal job. There are many translation, but this is one of the best translation I have seen and read. So please do go ahead and read the book. It's a quick read. There are three plays which you can read as a leisure read, and I hope you will find a lot of the aspects of the old literature. Point to note would be for sure that the words may have changed over a period of time as the plays were written for the people at that point in time. So I'm sure the words and the paraphrasing of those has happened over a period of time to demonstrate that sentiments of that particular era. But given that and otherwise as well, I think it's a great read and takes you back to time when human beings evolving as a society. Thank you for listening, and I hope you like what you heard. Looking forward to hearing from you in the comment section. Take care now. Cheers. Bye.